This is Los Angeles, and even then, even as a young attorney, it just seemed to be par for the course. It's showbiz, and it was a distraction because it was annoying.
At that time, he was like the case of the century.
There was a lot of press coverage. Mostly print reporters were there. There were still photographers in the courtroom. Television filmed the closing argument.
I asked the first two people, Christopher and Virginia Peterson, please step forward.
It's been over 4 years since the attempted murders of my husband and myself, an act which took only seconds, yet to this day reverberates with the original horror.
Many of the jurors had tears in their eyes as they listened to the horror.
Your Honor, I'd like to add to my wife's statement. It is my belief that the death penalty be given without reservation.
There was direct evidence surviving victims were able to identify Ramirez and describe what he did. You connect his fingerprints to a couple of the scenes. It's either Ramirez doing this or that somebody else was wearing his fingerprints. The guns were linked to Ramirez that were used at the crime scenes. So that's another piece of the circumstantial evidence.
And all the stolen property traced back to him as well.
Richard Ramirez stole a lot of jewelry, and a lot of this jewelry was recovered that was in turn identified by either the victims or the victim survivors.
Despite all the evidence, the defense team continued to argue that Richard Ramirez was just the wrong guy. And in one case, they actually tried to implicate the victim's family.
Jack Vincow discovered the body of his 79-year-old mother stabbed to death in her Los Angeles apartment. But Vincow later admitted under defense cross-examination that his mother had often engaged in loud disputes with Vincow's mentally disturbed brother, Manny.
So the defense was shooting from the hip, trying to create any kind of diversion from Ramirez's guilt.
We were not here to provide total exoneration. We're trying to throw in some kind of a reasonable doubt, you know, and that was our duty.
But as Vincow described how he found his mother's body, Ramirez leaned forward and smiled.
He had a little smirk on his face. He was just radiating evil. Just pure malevolence.